What's up, guys? How's it going? I hope it's going well. I hope. so, I was originally going to upload a giant inventory unboxing where I took everything out of the box and opened the knives and gave you my first impressions and whatever. But in the process of me doing that, I ended up doing that with this knife, and ended up giving false information about something, and I'm just not okay with that. So I didn't post the video, obviously. It was just kind of sitting on my phone, and then I ended up selling on Whatnot yesterday, and I talked to the people who usually come and hang out with me and buy stuff and whatever, and we chatted, and it turns out that I was wrong. So originally my claim was what I thought was, because I was going off of feel, and I was also trying to go off of touch. So this is the CJRB. Let's see. This is the Acacia. I believe that's how it's pronounced. If that's not how it's pronounced, then someone correct me. But there's two. I think there's two variants of this. So there's the blue and the black. I have both, but there might be another one I'm unsure of. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But my claim was the fact that the crossbar lock was not steel; it was FRN. That is not true. The crossbar lock is indeed steel; it is metal, and I was corrected. So I appreciate people correcting me there. I was going off of touch, and it didn't feel cool. If you touch metal, it usually retains cold. Metal is obviously a conductor, so it's good at conducting heat and cold. And the room I was filming in is very cold, and I couldn't feel. I wasn't cold, but I couldn't feel if it was metal or not, and I was really concerned. But alas, here we are. So those concerns are gone. So yeah, this is the Acacia from CJRB. I need to adjust the pivot. The pivot's a little tight, so it doesn't just flick out like it could. You just have to be really aggressive with the flick. This is their proprietary steel, AR-RPM9. I will say my one qualm with CJRB is the fact that they use a proprietary steel instead of a steel that everybody knows, like VG10, D2, 14C, 154CM, etc. I know that they do use those steels, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure which ones off the top of my head, but for a lot of their budget knives, I would say knives that are in the $30 range to $80-ish range, a lot of them use the AR-RPM9, which is a mixture of, I think the best explanation given to me, and I think when I googled it too, was it's kind of like a cross between D2 and 14C. But for a lot of people who aren't aware of that, or maybe they've never heard of CJRB, they might be a little turned away by seeing oh, well, I don't know what this blade steel is, I've never heard of it. Kind of if you don't know, then you're less likely to be interested in the product, whatever. I mean, granted, you could just Google it in this day and age. Everybody's got a phone, everybody's got thumbs. Some people have less thumbs like me, but you can still Google things. So anyway, either way, this knife is actually very impressive. When I first, like I said, first impressions of it, I had my assumptions. They were incorrect, so I'm calling myself out on that again. Incorrect. So this knife is, I think, very impressive because for basically a mix of D2 or 14C. Let me just double check myself here. I'm at my computer. Let me just make sure that I'm right about this before I give you guys more false information. Is AR-RPM9 D2? Let's see. What is RPM9 blade steel? That is not what I wanted. I typed RPM 2. Okay. Okay, so this is what Google says, guys. I'll just show you my computer. So, proprietary stainless steel blade steel developed by Artisan Cutlery, CJRB, for affordable high-performance knives. So it's skimming down here. The specific properties have been refined. So I guess it's a variant of 9CR18 Mauve, if I'm understanding that correctly. Huh. Marked as a powder metallurgy, still offering good edge retention, budget friendly. Purposes have been debated and refined. Some tests suggesting it's closer to spray formed. Huh. Very interesting. Okay, so again, I'm wrong. We're 2 for 2 today. So okay, it's not D2 and 14C. I was wrong in that regard. So anybody who's ever bought knives from me when I'm like, yeah, this is like D2 and 14C, it's actually closer to 9CR18 Mauve, which is a budget steel. Not a bad brand, not a bad steel at all. 7CR, 8CR, 9CR, any of that stuff is good. I mean, SRM uses a lot of that in their knives, all the way up to like 140 CR, in their more premium stuff. So I believe 9CR, 7CR, all that, I think that they're carbon steels, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Is 8CR13 Mauve a carbon steel? I'm pretty positive it is. No, it's not. I'm wrong. Wait. Oh, okay, so it's not a plain carbon steel. It's a high carbon steel, which is, I guess, technically in my head what I meant, but I didn't word it correctly. So, yeah, it's a high carbon steel. So, CR Mauve is basically a high carbon steel. Okay. So, back on track. So, yeah, so this is 9CR13 Mauve, basically. What did I say? I already forgot. Jesus Christ. Wait a second. I'm getting two separate. Now I'm getting a completely separate answer. What is this fucking video? Most commonly refers to AR-RPM9, but it's known for good, edge retention, comparable to steels like 14C. Okay, so I was wrong. Wow, I was wrong 3 times. Wow, today's the day of me just being wrong. Okay, so RPM9 is, yeah, I was right. So it's basically 14C28N. It's just their proprietary steel. Okay. Well, if you guys didn't know stuff before, now you know stuff. So there you go. That's still kind of baffling to me. I don't know. Okay. That's 2 conflicting answers through Google. So, regardless, it's a good budget steel. Interesting. I'm very confused. I'm very perplexed. I'm very perplexed. So the scales on this knife are FRN. I don't like FRN. Purely because Benchmade uses FRN on the bug out, and after finally getting a bug out for inventory a long time ago, it just felt shitty and cheap, and I don't understand why you would. Let me rephrase. I understand why you would do it, but I don't understand why you would do it, because there are other alternative options that are just as light but better quality. Why would you put FRN scales with S30V and then charge $190 for the knife when you could have just done S30V and aluminum scales? But whatever. Anyway, so FRN, I actually dig these. These are, I do like the little micro milling pattern. That is very nice. This does have inner liners, obviously, because it's an axis lock, so it's got an inner liner structure for the axis lock to mount to, because that's just how axis locks are. For anybody who doesn't understand how an axis lock works, let me move the knife up further, pull the camera back. Can I zoom this in a little bit? Okay. So when you take the scales off of an axis lock, normally you have a scale, an inner scale. So you take this off, you have an inner liner, and then you have the axis lock, and you have an omega spring, which is basically like an S spring, more or less. It's a really funky looking S. So one part of it wraps around this, and the other part curls up and slots into predetermined holes that are drilled on the liner. Usually on higher end knives, it's a separate structure. So you have the scales, and then you have the smaller inner liners, which is the pivot system. So you have to deconstruct the inner liners and pull them apart to get this axis bar out. On these more budget-oriented knives, I'm not sure if it's the same way. I think it's just the scale inner liners, and then that's it. And the inner liners extend all the way through the knife. I don't know if I can show you guys, if you'll be able to see. I'm pretty sure the inner liners extend from here all the way back to where the standoff is, back here with my finger. But you basically have to unscrew all that to be able to pull the liners out, remove the omega springs to get the axis bar out, to disassemble the blade assembly and pivot. So that's the only way you'll get the blade out, is by deconstructing that. So it's definitely a different pivot system than, you know, like button lock, liner lock, frame lock. I hope I did a decent job of explaining that. There you go, you can see the liner there. If you guys look at the back towards where the standoff is, you can see the light refracting off the pad on my desk. There's the liner. So the liners extend from the front where the pivot is all the way to the back where the standoff is. So my guess is you remove these two screws, the pivot screw, pop this off, and then remove the omega spring. There might be another screw in here on the other side. I don't know. Sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. I don't think so. I think it's just that. I think it's literally just the liners are probably held in by these screws, and then once you do that, it'll just completely disassemble. But anyway. So yeah, FRN Scales, steel pivot bar, steel axis bar, RPM9 blade. It's got a reversible pocket clip, which is very nice. It's got a nice action. You know, if you really flick it with some oomph, it does open very nicely. It's very fidgetable. It's got a nice ting. Here, let me like zoom out so you guys aren't just like jammed into. Oh, you can see all the knives. You can see all the knives on my desk. There you go. So very nice action. Yeah, trying to think here. I will say what's really impressive to me about all this is the fact that this knife is, if I'm not mistaken, retail on it right now is like $30. Let me double check. I'm gonna just double check real quick. Yeah, so retail on this knife right now on CJRB's website, I don't know about Blade HQ, but CJRB's website is $30. So you're getting, if I'm correct on the RPM9, you're getting something that's equivalent to 14C, an access bar, FRN Scales, which is, it's pretty light. to be quite honest. Something with really nice actions. I'm so sorry you're listening to Burger King empty their dumpsters right now, because I live like a couple houses down from a Burger King, and they are being incredibly fucking... Actually, no, I think that's the window. I think that's the window company that lives down next door to. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought because this fucker was throwing a whole house into the goddamn dumpster. Anyway, so yeah, you're getting something that's equivalent to 14C blade steel, FRN scales, very light. You're getting an axis lock with a very crispy action. I'm not very good at fidgeting with axis locks. I actually don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really like axis locks a lot. They're, in general, most of them don't have the like snappiness and the crispness that I'm looking for. There are some that stand out to me that I really enjoy. I can show you. Like one is the Bel Air. Here, I have one on I have the Bel Air on my desk. I just love it's just so smooth. So incredibly smooth. So snappy. The Iridium is the same too. It's just so smooth. I'll just leave that over there. So yeah, a lot of axis locks kind of bother me. I'm just very picky in that regard, so I don't usually care for them. I know everybody loves axis locks. They are a great locking system. They are much more secure than a button lock, or I would say sometimes even a frame lock, depending. But I'm just not. I prefer like button lock, top liner locks, or frame locks. Or ram locks for that matter. I'm just not a huge axis lock person. I mean, I do have them. They're some that I do have. I do enjoy, but yeah, it's just my personal preference. I don't know. Axis locks are kind of like, man, this is gonna be really shitty. This is gonna be a really shitty example, but it's kind of like what is it from Goldilocks trying the porridge. You know, one was too hot, one was too cold, one was too perfect. That's kind of how I feel about axis locks. They're either really good or really bad, but I never really find one that's like just perfect, and when I do, it's always very difficult for me. That was probably a really shitty analogy, but yeah. I think it's just it has to do with the general swing of the action on the blade, and it just doesn't always feel smooth. Like, if you let go of it too soon, it locks out. It just doesn't. And this is on cage bearings too. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Whereas like the Bel Air does it, but the drop it's so smooth, man. And it does it, right? Obviously, like I'm bitching about something that all axis locks do, but the smoothness of this, it feels like there's almost no tension. It feels like I'm pressing a button. It doesn't feel like I'm pulling an axis lock. Whereas this, it feels like there's a lot of tension behind this bar, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Some people would probably like that. I have to pull this with 2 fingers because it's just not comfortable for me to do it with one. Whereas with that or the Iridium, I can just do it 1 finger over and over and over again. Same with the Kaiser drop bear. So I will say that I'm not a huge fan of that. But for $30, this is a killer deal, honestly. So just ignore my personal gripes about it as far as my whines about axis locks. You're getting a $30 axis lock with pretty much equivalent to 14C blade steel, FRN scales, so super light. It's got a reversible pocket clip, and it's got a pretty solid action. It's also on cage bearings. I'm pretty sure they're I don't know if they're Teflon. Actually, maybe. Oh, there you go. You can see the bearings. I'm pretty sure they're cage copper cage bearings. Pretty positive. I'm trying to get some light in there, but it's not going so well. If they're not cage bearings, then they're probably Teflon bearings, but it's still on ball bearings. So, but for 30 bucks, like, I mean, can you really complain? Only other qualm is I'd like some more jimping. The jimping could have extended up a little further, but this could just be used as a light duty knife. You know, there also could have been some jimping here, just a little bit, just so you're. I mean, you do get this nice finger choil, which I dig, but yeah, that's it really. It's a really nice knife. For 30 bucks, you really can't complain. Would I personally own one? No. It's nice, but it doesn't tick all the boxes for me. I would give this knife scale of 1 to 10. 10 being absolutely buy it, 1 being nope, don't do it at all. I would say, honestly, I'd say a 9 out of 10. You really can't go wrong with this. I don't like this knife personally, like it just does nothing for me. But I also recognize the immense value in this and what CJRB has done with bringing this to market. And what's just, you know, it's a good beater knife, if anything. You really can't complain. It's an axis lock for 30 bucks with pretty damn good blade steel. I mean, yeah. So that's that, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was kind of all over the place, but yeah. Let's see, the next video, I have no idea what I'm reviewing. It'll be more budget stuff. I do have some high-end stuff coming that I will be reviewing. So the budget stuff will continue for a bit, and then we're gonna get into some like pricey stuff, like probably $200-300 knives, something like that. But we're also probably going to end up with I'm going to be probably throwing up some videos of me working on my custom knives. I don't know when exactly, but that'll be up on the channel too. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I highly recommend picking this up if you're looking for, you know, an EDC to take to work or something. You need an axis lock. $30 does not break that. For 30 bucks, you really cannot complain. This is a steal. And it's also from a reputable brand. I mean, like, really? Can't complain, man. Alright. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay hydrated, eat some good food, and as always, be kind to yourself. Okay? Talking to you. And be kind to others. Seriously, be kind to other people, okay? You don't know what they're going through. Alright. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, dudes.